and it's the end of my timer, but I kind of want to name the needs that come behind it. It's really something around like safety and acceptance, belonging, and I think also like mourning and kind of honoring some of the things I've been through that make me have this coming up.
Acceptance.
Yeah. And love.
To love yourself, you mean?
Yeah, to just love from me to me, from others to me, just really kind of the need for love, I think, just going to be met there. And with it grounding, and with it like feeling centered, and with it presence, and with it joy, and all those things around the need for love. Then we're thinking still the awareness that this is recorded is there, but there's something in me that's more calm. I think probably about the fact that I get the sense that you're with me, and that the need for friendship, companionship, and love is kind of met there as well, I think.
Yeah, man. So I have the questions that you wrote in the WhatsApp. Shall we just kind of go through them and then both answer and see where it goes from there, and maybe a conversation starts to happen?
Sounds good.
And shall we also have an intention that it just goes where it goes, and we don't necessarily, we have the questions as kind of a guidance, but we don't have to kind of, as if we're filling in a form or something?
Yeah. Actually, one of the things that was coming to me just before coming with you was something like, well, maybe we can name our intentions for this time together.
Mm-hmm.
If you're up for it.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Shall I begin, or would you like to begin?
I can start. I think my intention when I was thinking about it earlier is really to dare doing something that I'm worried about and that I feel a bit of discomfort with, and to kind of show myself that I will survive from it. That's one of the things. My intention is also to co-create and to like this sense of collaboration that I've had with you, with the men's group, and then doing something new. There's something exciting about it. So that's one of the intentions. And then really in terms of like the content and what we're bringing out there, there's really something around wanting to connect and maybe wanting to bring a sense of excitement to people that maybe haven't been to the men's group, so that they can connect a little bit to what's the essence that we bring in the men's group, and wanting more of it. And that comes with like the intention of really co-creating spaces that can be nourishing for men, and that bring more possibilities for men to have their needs met, and therefore bring that in the world. So that's kind of the intentions that are there. Yeah. I think that's what's there. What about you?
Yeah. I have to say that my intentions are, I think they are there as well, but also I am very personal in them. For me, it's fun to do. I really like creating stuff, and I really like publishing stuff. And somehow the idea of having a conversation with you, and then specifically about the men's group, made me very excited. And I think it is linked to being more visible. And I think that is linked to, sharing this beautiful group that we have, because I can't remember one time where it wasn't meaningful, or where I didn't think afterwards, okay, this is actually the most meaningful thing I've been doing, leaving out my relationship, etc. But it's so nice to bring to co-create with you this group, and with all the men that are there, and that that, oh, this is actually needed, and it's like a breath of fresh air or water in the desert for us. And yeah, it is that part which is more on the kind of, almost tending to a wound part of, men in society. And my personal joy of just publishing stuff, creating stuff, playing around with software and figuring it all out. And yeah, that's both for me. So yeah, that's for me.
Yeah. One thing that came to me when you were speaking was also like my need for maybe attention and being seen. There's like something that's like, oh, maybe like I'm going to be known and seen and receive more attention. And that's really exciting.
Yeah.
And also very scary. But,
Yeah.
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 Yeah, there's some of that.
Same. Is it for you scary because if you're like me, it's like, yeah, but then they're gonna see I'm full of shit or something like that.
Yeah, for sure. Like, I guess it's something like I'm full of shit and they won't be able to see behind the shit or something like that. Like, there's some kind of trust that behind the shit, there's really like beauty and humanity and love and all these things. But I'm also aware that how it can come across is really not not like that. So I'm afraid of that. Yeah. And while I speak, there's also something that's like, yeah, but maybe there is behind the shit really some things that are not that pretty.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, resonate. And I'm just thinking now for people who don't know us, maybe it's nice to do a little introduction. Would you like to start or would you like me to start?
Maybe you start, that will inspire me if you have thought of something already. Yeah.
Well, I actually don't really like to introduce myself because it's also always, okay, here I give you one paragraph that now is your definition of me, for whoever's listening. But yeah, I think I see the usefulness of it. So I'm Hans van Veen. And kind of for the purposes of what we're doing right now, I've been on the MVC path for about 5 years, something like that. I studied philosophy. I have also done a 3-year Iyengar yoga teacher training, which really was cool and shaped me. And it's one of those things that I did. So I guess I'm kind of describing my spiritual journey, which was, studying philosophy, doing a bunch of plant medicine journeys, doing a lot of yoga and meditation, then finding NVC. And also, I've been coaching the Olivier coaching method. I've just done year 1, and I'm planning to do the entire 4 years, which is a big thing. And then besides all of that, I'm also a dad. I have 2 kids at the moment. We're about to get married, living in the Netherlands with my fiancée Yeva, who is from Lithuania. And I also have a day job. So I guess that gives you some kind of idea of where I'm at, where I'm coming from. How about you?
My name is Olivier Passebecq. As you might hear from my accent, I'm from the south of France. I was born and raised in the mountain in a really beautiful area. Parents pretty alternative. Grew up with a lot of conflict at home. The main way to communicate was really like blaming and shaming. So that's kind of what I experienced a lot. Although there was also love and there was also kindness and affection at times. But growing up, I wanted to escape as much as I could. And I ended up finding a way to go to Asia. So I lived for about 10 years in Asia in many different countries. I had different jobs working in fashion, and then I was a photographer. I started doing photography there as my main job. And after a while, I decided to come back to Europe for different reasons. One of the reasons was that I saw that the way I was dealing with life was not necessarily meeting the needs that I was trying to meet. And I read the book of Marshall, which really resonated with me. I tried to implement a few things of NVC in my life here and there. And at times it was kind of a fail, and at times it was super supportive. So that gave me hope. Moved back to the UK and started to do some trainings there. And then got very much into it and did an IIT in Slovenia, 1 week long training there. Met some people who were doing the year course with Jora Mosensen in the Netherlands. Decided to do it as well. So for 1 year I was going there. And then COVID hit, and I ended up assisting a lot online, which was very meaningful, many levels. Met many people, including you. Well, I was assisting, and in parallel, just like you've done the Alicia coaching, I've studied something called relational intelligence therapy, which is a mix of IFS, polyvagal theory, and attachment theory work. So that's one of the practice that I do. I give one-on-one sessions, and I also train as a Wim Hof method instructor. So cold exposure, breath work, mindset, this kind of stuff. And I was living in France for the last 3 years. I had some health problems, which got me to move back to the south of France after living in London for many years. I was there for a few years, and I really got at a much healthier place with my state. That's when I decided a few months ago to come back now to London, because my partner is here. His name is Zach, and we've been together for 5 years. And we don't live together because we both need our space, but we live very close to each other, and it's really nice to be back in the UK. I've got a community here as well of people that I'm close to, and I'm very excited to this new chapter now of coming back to the UK. So yeah, that's me.
Very nice. I'm immediately jealous of how beautifully you talk about yourself, and here I was just listing some things. Yeah, that is fine. And I do hear a nice bridge, by the way, of the men's group. And that's, of course, where I met you. You were assisting a course that I was attending. And it was one of my first courses. I did a million courses, mostly with Joram also. And
this one was with Orion, right?
that was then my first course I ever did.
Wow.
Yeah. Okay. I didn't remember that, and I remember really being impressed with you. And probably it was something like how relaxed you were and how present, and yeah, somehow very inspiring to me. And my memory isn't that good. You're typically better at that than me. You also remember introducing my fiance to me, not exactly like that, but encouraging me, whereas I just completely forgot that. But I do remember that I thought, okay, I'm going to talk to Olivier, and I had this idea in my head of there should be a men's group. There are so many women compared to men, and there's just something different about being with men than being with women. At this point, I don't even remember what exactly was the reason, besides kind of retroactively trying to, make the argument. And looking back, it's clear that it's a big success. Even if there are 5 people sometimes in a session, it's a big success. But yeah, there we are. And I think you also had the idea to do a men's group, but somehow when I reached out to you with the idea from my end, it clicked. Or how did you experience that?
Yeah. The moment I started to do things which include only men is when I did some Tantra courses some years back. And I remember that there was something quite powerful that I experienced then. But then the kind of NVC lens was missing for me, in terms of like actually looking also behind the gender, behind all the labels we have about people, and like juicing it to the needs. And I had the thought many times, like, wow, how amazing would it be to meet up with people who identify as men, and from there look at things from an NVC awareness kind of point of view. So I really wanted to do that. I think I wanted to do it for myself as well, because I was longing to experience these kind of spaces. But I was not daring. I do tend to do things with a lot more joy when I'm collaborating somehow. So when you messaged me and you wanted to connect with me, I remember I was like really happy about it. And when I forgot who put it first, but I think we kind of got to speaking about it naturally. And it was directly kind of a yes when you suggested it. I was just super happy about it. And I can't believe that it's been more than 5 years now. So really, really happy about that. Yeah, I'm wondering if we want to look at other questions, or if there's something.
Yeah, I was looking. Yeah. Well, how about just what has it been like for you? If you just look back, it's been 5 years, and then I'll also say, but I want to hear from you, if that's okay first. What's that been like to do the men's group for 5 years?
What's it been like? Really meaningful. I want to say It's been an amazing learning experience. It's been a support for me. It's been a joy. It's been challenging at times. I think one of the things that has been like so rich is like our own process, you and me, and being in that very close relationship somehow quite quickly of dealing with each other often and having triggers coming up. It's been so rich. And we spoke about that many times, but one of the most beautiful things that came out of the men's group is also our friendship and the trust that I have with you. So that's really, I could speak about that for a long time. And notice I'm touched and shy. But yeah, I'm very, very grateful for our friendship. And when it comes to like the actual men's group, what would happen pretty much every time we would do it is I would leave it with more energy that I found it. And there was really something that was intensely nourishing for me. I would see myself being a little bit scared every time to start. Almost every time, especially at the beginning, it was like, oh my God, what is it? What are we doing? This excitement and fear, and also like the dynamic between us on how we approach it, what are intentions for it, how do we want to hold the space for it. It's been really a learning experience for me on being with people, with a group, and also on how I want to hold it, it has been making me question my place as a facilitator, a co-facilitator. How do we do that together? So yeah. And then one thing that also has been really meaningful for me is like all the people that I've met, other than you, all the people that I've met through it, really meaningful friendships, and feeling touched, finding a lot of shared reality. Yeah, I really could go on, getting a sense that it's really supporting people. I think some of the feedback that we would have as well, that we would hear and receive both within the men's group and privately, and also the WhatsApp group that has been part of it since the beginning. I'm super grateful of like what's going on with it, because people ask a lot for support, receive support, and for men to have a space where they feel really safe enough to ask for support, I find it really fantastic. So just fucking amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, I was also, are you complete with that, or is there more?
There might be more that comes, but I'd love to hear you.
Yeah. I was also really, just when you said, yeah, in the WhatsApp group, I was just thinking the WhatsApp group, because that's also really been indeed a part of it. And I'll just answer the question then for myself as well. And I just really kind of have the same answer, which is that it's been super rich, I think you said. For me, it's often been also challenging. Indeed, as you say, there are dynamics between us, or I can just say in myself, right? And I guess in you, but I'm not talking about myself. And for me, yeah, it comes very quickly with comparison jackals. So for people who don't know what that means, I'm comparing myself to you, and it comes in the form of a judgment. And that's fine. My mind just does that. And that's actually something I've been learning to deal with, because it comes up every time, because I think you're really an amazing facilitator. And what I'm slowly learning is that if I'm just honest and don't try to be something I'm not, that's typically where the gold is, of just being present and in the moment. And that has been very, very valuable for me. I think also just on a kind of developmental level, really learning to facilitate, quite often we have meetings, especially if you look back over 5 years. How many do you think we would have had? 40? 50? Something like that. Yeah. And one thing that came to me to just give, paint a picture for people is that I think it's been very often that people said, yeah, I'm here, in the check-in. I'm not sure if I really want to be here. But then, after a 1.5 hour session, they'll typically say, oh, I'm so glad I came. This is just what I needed, or something shifted. I really like that. And I've really come to trust it. I think that maybe, I recognize what you said at the beginning, that, this anxiety in the beginning. But now, over the years, I still get a bit anxious, I think, typically before a session. And at the same time, I've come to trust this container, this group. I know that, this is a place where people come and they enjoy it. It's intimate, it's honest, it's safe. It's super lovely. And I really like that. Guess, it's
I can
awesome.
jump on that.
Yeah, please.
Yeah. I also see how with time, my ease of coming into the men's group has really evolved. And my understanding of it is that it's really very much linked to our relationship as well. Because I feel very much at ease with you, that I know that if there is conflict between us, it's going to be smooth, because we have been speaking about the comparison jackals, because we have been speaking about the triggers that we have with one another. And we have juiced it so many times. And whenever a conflict would come, that we both embraced it. At least that's my story. And so the other side of the conflict, and so the gift that it was to go with it, then it really gives me this trust that, like, okay, there's safety, like conflict is welcome between us, even if it's annoying, and then it's amazing. And so just that has been bringing me so much ease in the men's group. And I think we're also at such a flow in what we're doing that's been really, really supportive. And also some of the learnings from the beginning, like at times when, for example, people would get triggered. And I will always remember one time where I got really triggered with one participant.
I know the one you mean, I think.
Yeah. And that was scary. That was really scary. It's like, I'm getting so triggered. How can I hold anything? But that taught me as well. That taught me, and there was the companionship with you to actually look at it together and not be alone with that. And so from that, I think I'm doing things differently as well. And I have the thought that I have more ease and mastery around it as well, because of all we've done together. So yeah, that's one of the things that was coming to me.
Hey, I was wondering if to switch a little bit topics, if you want to maybe talk a little bit more about, masculinity, what it means to be a man, and not necessarily to bring our theories of the world, but maybe more, I don't know, connected to, you wrote down some questions, does courage play, talking about this typical quote unquote manly or masculine qualities like courage or protection. Can I ask you something like, does courage play a role in the men's group? Is there a need of protection alive there? Anything on that you could reflect on?
That's many questions.
Yeah. How about if we look at the typical societal idea, or maybe archetypal, ideas of masculinity, one thing that comes up is courage. Is that somehow reflected in the men's group? Are we men in the men's group with respect to, let's say, courage? Does that make sense, that question?
Yeah. If I think of the need for courage, and if I see it as a need, and that's really like my understanding of the NVC lens is to look at life through needs understanding. If I see need as if I see courage as a need, then I would definitely say that we are meeting that need in the men's group. I see it taking so much courage to be able to bring vulnerability, to be able to bring the things that are very alive within ourselves in front of other men in this culture that doesn't often invite us to do that. I think in this society, for most men, we've been told that we need to disconnect from our emotions in order to be valid and valued. And so to be able to connect to these feelings and sensations, voice them, for me, it takes a big amount of courage. And so it's definitely there. Yeah. What comes to you around this question?
Yeah, just very much the same. Actually, an example came to me that I'll try to keep it a little bit PG-13, but we had actually one session about a certain body part that is very closely related to being a man. And then we shared about our insecurities around our penis, let's just say what we're talking about. Whereas I think that is a very courageous thing to do, because we are not, what I have noticed in my life is very often coming off of the men I've been around is more, it looks like being strong, but it's actually, like picking on people or making jokes about things, or, which is, there is a strength in the group. I think that kind of behavior meets certain needs of safety, probably because there's a lot of vulnerability in everybody, including men. But it doesn't really, it's not a very self-connected kind of safety or courage. I wouldn't call that even courageous, honestly. It's safe, but it's not courageous. I think what you said I resonate with is that, if I may translate it a bit, is that you cannot be courageous without being vulnerable. And that's actually interesting, because maybe that means that if courage is somehow an elemental part of being a man, that is because being vulnerable is an elemental part of being a man. It almost makes no sense to even differentiate between men and women. We just so happen to have a men's group. But maybe then the question is, what is the specific vulnerability that we notice of being a man? I'm wondering if something comes to you.
I'm not sure, because I see the needs really as universal, obviously, and regardless of you being a man or a woman or an intersex person or whatever you want to call yourself, you're going to have those universal needs. For me, really what makes it special in the men's group is that as men, as men in this society, we've got a cultural understanding of what it's supposed to be like to be a man that somehow is shared. And through this shared reality, there is specific pains and specific experiences that stop us from really being able to connect to ourselves and others because of these. And that shared reality is what I find very valuable in the men's group, because by connecting together through that, we really are able to go into transforming that kind of pain into whatever is needed to be transformed, right? Either it's courage, either it's strength, either it's power, either it's togetherness, either it's acceptance or relaxation, all those things. Does that align with what you were saying? Does that make sense?
What I'm hearing is that you see it makes no sense to differentiate at some point, that we all have the same needs. And I guess that what you're saying is that it comes out differently in a men's group. I want to add maybe something that came to me that just brings something about the societal aspect of it. Marshall Rosenberg, as you are well aware, said something about movies, and that the apotheosis of a movie is when the bad guy gets beaten up by the good guy, and it's typically a guy, and of course the woman has to be protected and blah blah blah. What he didn't talk about, as far as I know, he probably did at some point, but is, let's say, pornography, or I think we had a session about that maybe 1 year ago or something. Porn addiction that many men have. I had it for sure. I've been exposed, women get exposed to ideals of beauty that are super difficult to attain. Men get exposed also to ideals of beauty. If you look at all the muscular men, especially in the 90s, that was a little bit more the case, 80s and 90s, but also how to have sex, how your penis is supposed to look, bringing it back there, but more I think I've come to realize that let's just say pornography has really shifted a lot in my brain about how I perceive myself, about how I perceive or approach intimacy. I think that is a very specific effect on men watching pornography and I think it is very destructive. And I've noticed that. But it's also a little bit difficult to see. I think. I'm not sure what you think, but I think it's difficult to actually catch the effect of that because it's everywhere. Almost all men have had some exposure to that. And some level of addiction, whether it be temporary or maybe still in it, whatever. But there's something, and the deeper layer, I think, is the identification with the body. I am my body, and then, I compare my body to other bodies. I compare what they do, how they perform. I think maybe men are a bit more judged on their performance. And we have, then of course there are ideals to meet or to not meet. So talk about comparison jackals. I think that's not just in me. I think that's something all men have. And again, it feels a bit awkward to talk only about men, but let's talk, whatever. We're talking about the men's group. But somehow this
Because
influence of pornography.
It's rare that women gets compared for their penis size.
Women,
I think we can say that. So it's like, yes, there's comparison jackals on both sides, and yes, there are pain that comes from objectification and not seeing people as more than their bodies. And for men, well, there's like a specific type of judgments we have about ourselves and comparisons that are different from women. And there's a specific set of performance that are expected from us societally that women, they have a different one. Something like that.
And maybe just to say that, I don't know what is sort of the conclusion, but I like that the men's group is a place that we can talk about that. I think what you see in men, I think there are probably a lot of wonderful men's groups, but there are, of course, a lot of kind of spontaneous men's groups. Let's say your male colleagues or, the guys at the soccer club. Those are kind of men's groups, are groups of men. But in those groups, I think, let's say unhealthy behavior is likely to be more perpetuated. Whereas if you have a group where actually honesty and vulnerability is invited, then you can actually maybe talk about the pain beneath it and then transform something instead of perpetuate it. I think I like that about the men's group.
Yeah, that somehow it creates a space where we can access to other quality of presence. So what comes to me when you're sharing is like, I guess those men's meetings, or either it's in sports or all the ones that exist already, I think they really serve needs as well. And I can see that they serve need for just togetherness, playfulness, fun, ease. I mean, so many. And yet the flavor that they have, yet for me, it hasn't been a place where I've been feeling safe, or that my voice is welcome, that I have a moment where people will be able to really connect with me. So definitely, and recently I've been going to a few different types of men's group, and it's been super enjoyable. Like I went to, since I got here in London, I went to 2 different men's group, and both of them I really enjoyed. It's almost like, well, the moment you give a space for men where they can actually speak and be heard in group, it's totally different from what I'm used to. So I really love that. And there is something around the NVC men's group where there's this awareness of needs that for me makes a big difference, because it helps me more trusting that the way I'm a man is valid, that there is less like a specific idea of like what's right or wrong, and therefore whatever means to me to be the man that I am fully is kind of going to be welcome, and we're just going to be looking at like what are the needs there and what are the needs that maybe are not being met when I'm doing that, but not because I should be a different kind of man. And so that's what is very special for me as well in the men's group that we're doing. And I like that it comes with also a lot of different stories around it and point of views that clash. We've had so many of them, and and that's also been very meaningful for me, because every time I have the sense that we got closer to each other going through these triggers and difference in opinion, that at the end of the day, when we hear each other, we can really connect to one another and meet more the needs for love between each other. But yeah, that's really something that I find so specific about the NVC men's group, is that there's a true openness on being a man. You identify as it, but you can come and like, you're going to have your own understanding of it. And we don't really care about that. What we care is about being together and connecting around that.
Mm-hmm. It's almost like, if I hear you speak like that, what comes to me is almost like, because we're so accepting of just, whatever is actually there, what's actually alive, we can call that needs or whatever, then strangely, the fact that we're all men isn't so clear anymore. We're just humans together. And I think maybe that's also your experience, but tell me if I'm misquoting you or misrepresenting you. But I think what I like so much about the men's group is that we're together as men, but somehow that kind of feeling of unsafety or that little sharp edge or, oh, if I say this, I'll be mocked. That's just not there. And so we can actually all relax as men. And I think that is rare, that you can actually all relax as men and there's not this kind of striving or competition. It can be there, of course, stuff does come up, but typically there's this...
We can name it without being mocked or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. And and somehow this thing of, it's almost we come together as men to forget we are men or something like that. I guess in the traditional sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Do you resonate with that?
Yeah, I really do resonate. And I often speak about the unique flavor of connection I experienced being only with men, and especially in the men's group. That's really another kind of level and color of this. It's really how much the connection that I've been experiencing, the joy and the sense of open-heartedness, and how quick it happens within this men's group. Maybe I'm biased because I'm also facilitating and I get especially touched by it, but there's something in me that's like, no, that really happens. And yeah, I'm so grateful for that. Yeah.
What is one thing that you're still dreaming about for the men's group? Something you would like to create, or something that hasn't quite happened yet, or anything like that?
I would like more in-person events, international in-person events to happen from it. That's something I would really like to happen, but also it's difficult. You just got a new baby and I just moved to a new place. I mean, I'm very excited that I'm actually going to facilitate one NVC men's group here in London, end of October. But there is something about that little community we've got on the NVC men's group online that is so sweet and special for me. That's one thing that I could say there. I really like it when people bring their own topics, because I love that, we organize this and we kind of are putting ourselves in charge of this. So I can see like the hierarchy there, and I can see the needs that it's meeting for both of us. And I have the thought for others as well, in terms of efficacy and ease and flow and safety. And at the same time, I really like it when there is the sense that the men's group is like a shared thing, and that it belongs to more than the two of us. So when people come up with like topics, when people, one time Lucas came and he wanted to do like some circling. So we did some circling in it. So I love the idea of like doing things a little bit different here and there. That's something that I like and I would like to see more. Yeah, I guess that's kind of what comes to me. And maybe if you say something, I'm going to have more ideas. But right now, that's what comes to me. How about you?
Yeah, I love that. And I know that you have this event coming up. And I hope to bring this out soon so that we can also put the link to that underneath anywhere we publish it. Yeah, I like the live events. And also I have one idea about something related to what Steven shared. I'm sorry to be mysterious, but I don't want to share it here. But there's something where we could combine our circle with a certain women's circle that exists, and talking a bit more about masculine and feminine archetypes, energy, how we embody that in male versus female bodies and anything in between, of course. And indeed, yeah, I'm super busy right now. I'm very happy that we can keep on doing the men's group. And I think I would like it to be more well known, because I really think it is quite an offering that is just not that much known yet. And yeah, if we just keep on going like we are, I think it will be. I think the quality, the needs it's meeting is they are. I trust them enough to see the seed will grow more and more. I think. I'm wondering if it's maybe getting to a natural point to rounding up. Unless you have any more topics.
Is there anything in the questions that we wrote the other time that comes up that we haven't looked at?
I think we kind of covered it, actually. If I look at the questions that you wrote, what about maybe somebody's listening to this, but they're like, nah, that's not for me. Men's group. I don't know. It sounds a bit ... What would you say to them?
So I like that you asked this question. One time, someone came, and in the breakout room of the men's group, that person voiced how challenging it can be to be with men for that person, and also that person was not identifying as straight, so that person was identifying as I'm not sure. Yeah, I guess I would say queer. And was worried to be with men because it was a challenging topic for him. And I want to say, well, I don't identify as straight. I'm also part of the men's group. You're so welcome, regardless of your identity, sexual identity, your story. I really, really want that to be something that's welcome. So that's one big thing. I have other people saying that they don't want to come because they're worried that it's going to be like a big macho man group, because they don't like the whole like men's thing, because they're like, what's the point of experiencing that? And I don't want to be with people that just think that you have to be a man to be valuable or something like that. And so what comes to me, something like, yeah, I would really like that you come and to just experience it for yourself, because you will most likely be really surprised, and that it is a concern that you have, or that actually it is a challenge for you to be with men. I would love you to bring that and to speak about it in the men's group, because I want to welcome this kind of, pain that might live in relationship to other men, something like that. I'm imagining that there are people that think like, oh no, that's going to be a thing for the CCs and like all the feeling and blah, blah, blah. And I want to say, like, if you want to come and you don't want to go so much into some kind of depth of vulnerability or something like that, I would say, yeah, maybe that's not really the kind of place that will work for you. Like, if you don't want to meet other people from a place of vulnerability, yeah, maybe that's not really the place for you. That's what I would say. Yeah. What comes to you when you hear that?
Yeah, I'm surprised that some people think it is the macho group, but I think that their idea is not informed by us, but about what society is typically giving as a men's group. So I'm happy you named that. Yeah, and of course the men's group, I really so just to say, I really love action. I'm pretty, I'm borderline impulsive. I like to do stuff, as you know. I don't like to wait. But the men's group is not exactly it's not a solution group. It's actually, let's look at ourselves, let's be together. And the thing is, for me, maybe that's a good thing also for people to hear, maybe that are a little bit new to NVC or maybe completely new to NVC. There can be this idea that it's, like you say, like sissy or soft or blah, but actually no, it can be really raw and really confronting and really honest. That's also a part of NVC, that it can be confronting. And one of the, my kind of through line throughout the years has been, the men's group is also a hall of mirrors, and my trigger is something I'm carrying. And I think that's where there is definitely some courage needed to come to the men's group. At the same time, I also always want to add that, don't say what you don't want to say. Don't share what you're not ready to share. It's also safe in, it's not like, okay, we're all going to be naked spiritually. No, you can protect yourself. You don't have to volunteer things that you're not ready to share, and yet it is welcome. So yeah, I really resonate with what you said, and I guess that's my kind of second violin to that.
Yeah, I really like it. Like I noticed there was a bit of regret in what I said, like worrying that there's this like, yeah, well, maybe it's not for you if you don't want to be emotional. It's like, yeah, there is the intention to be in a place where we can be vulnerable. But if you're at a place where you just want to be there and witness and not be vulnerable yourself, you're so welcome for that as well. If you want to come and just be silent the whole time and just say like, yeah, I'm just going to be silent. I just want to be here. Like, you're so welcome too. So I really appreciate that you said that. I'm going to check a little bit, like, what was it that was in my mind when I said what I said earlier.
I'm curious. Yeah.
Yeah, you want me to share now?
If you're willing, yeah, I think it would be interesting.
Yeah. I think what I was trying to care for is a sense of choice, like an understanding that not everything is for everyone. And so, like, I don't want that there's this sense of like, no, you have to come to the men's group. If you don't come to the men's group, there's something wrong with you. It's more like, yeah, maybe that's not where you are at this moment. And I want to encourage that. I think that was more what I was trying to say.
Yeah. I really like that, because I think what you say brings this dimension of understanding that, we can be super vulnerable and share about our body parts and our deepest traumas, but yeah, not everybody is at all, I'm not always ready for that. I'm sure you're not always open to that with anybody. And I love that you bring that kind of layered possibility. Yeah, you can come in this layer of vulnerability, you can just be quiet, or you can be somewhere in between. You just welcome. What we ask is that, you don't outwardly start judging people. You hold space with empathy. If you maybe don't have empathy, maybe you ask for empathy. That's also what I love about the WhatsApp group, by the way. It's really a place where we set up and share our meetings, but also asking for support, which happens every day almost. And I really see you taking a lot of, your example in that, I think, really using it for asking for empathy. I think people are noticing that and taking it as an inspiration. So yeah,
I make it a point of like asking for support whenever I see that it would be like helping me, or when I'm feeling a bit too full, when I'm just wanting some connection and the people with who I live are busy or something like that. I want to make sure that people see that it's okay to request and that there is the possibility. And what I've seen was that the more I've been asking, the more I've seen other people asking. And now every day I see people asking maybe for support, for checking, for empathy. And how amazing it is to have a place where you got some guys that are there for you when you need it. Like,
yeah,
I want to see more of that in the world.
Yeah. Same. Maybe I want to let people know where they can find you. Do you have any socials or websites that you want to share?
Yes, you can find me on Instagram at Olivier Passebecq, OLIVIER PASSEBECQ, in the comment there or something.
Yeah, well.
And same for my Facebook page, Olivier Passebecq. And if you want to see my website, www.olivierpassebecq.com. How about you?
Yeah, and is that last one also where you have put the men's group you're organizing in London?
Yes, on my website, under events, you will find the offering of the NVC men's group in London. And as well on my Facebook page, you should be able to find that.
And that event is donation based, right? Or was it? How was it? It was.
It's gift economy. Really, for this one, I want it to be free. I really want anyone to come. Really, regardless. That's really a gift. And then if people want to contribute to me in some kind of ways, that's welcome. But I'm not asking for anything. I'm not even putting something specifically in place for that. It's really a gift. So free for you. And for
nice.
any person that identifies as male and that can come to London on the 30th of October.
Very cool. Yeah, I'm excited to hear the stories about that. And yeah, and that's for me My website is nondualcommunication.net. So nondualcommunication.net. And I also have an insight timer, which is the meditation app you might know. And just you can look for my name, Hans van Veen. I have courses on there and a bunch of meditations. I also have some other kind of socials, but that is on my website. I think that's basically a wrap, unless you have anything else that you think, oh, this or that.
No, I want to say thank you so much for organizing this. It's been fun. I can't think of one time that we spent some hours together that I didn't enjoy. So it's always really a pleasure. I'm just so happy to spend time with you and do stuff together. And yeah, I'm excited. Thank you so much, Hans.
Same for me, man. Thanks a lot. That's a wrap.
Mm-hmm.